Hey everybody. Yes, my hair is very fluffy. I just took a bath, so it's all right. Anyways, so I was going through my news feed. I delete a lot of two-faced type of people that I don't really need in my Facebook anyways. Um, and so I'm getting a whole new news feed of different people, which is awesome because I'm getting a different perspective, but not really, but it is in a way because when you have the same people on your newsfeed, it becomes redundant and then it ceases to be really interesting. So now that I've released a lot of different people, I'm getting new people coming up that I haven't seen in like years, didn't even know they existed. So, and I came across this one post that talks about LSD being used to clear or do something with neural pathways. And I'm like, and this is what I did. I was nice about it. I actually commented and said, you wouldn't give a baby who is, trying to develop brains and trying to develop their body. You wouldn't give them LSD. You wouldn't give them any type of drugs. What does a baby need? Hey, Jennifer, what does a baby actually need? The baby needs mother's milk. But what's in mother's milk? Well, nutrition, good bacteria, enzymes, minerals. And where does a baby get that through mother's milk? Where does the mother's milk come from? It comes from the mother. How does that get developed? Well, the reproductive system goes and pulls all the nutrients from the mom and then puts it all in the mother's milk. Okay, and there's so many, obviously breast milk is best, but then you know that there are, parasites and candida and things that do get passed on to the baby. Because if breast milk was the best, then all the babies would never ever get sick ever. Well, they get sick, but they would never have these developmental issues. So I'm just like, okay, so how is it so hard when you have a baby that is generating, developing, it needs nutrition. A baby cannot live off of water alone. So a baby needs nutrition because it's developing, it's generating, it's developing, generating. Those two words are the same thing. And so when you don't get enough nutrition, what happens? You degenerate, you degrade, you regress. When you're a baby, you're supposed to be progressing, just be developing, hitting the different stages. So when you are in your 40s and 50s, let's say you reached your peak development in your 30s as far as a human. Maybe you reach your peak development when you're 18 or 19. I don't know when it actually stops, when you actually mature as an adult. But at some point you start regressing. Why do you start regressing? Because you're not getting the nutrition. And then some people think, oh yeah, I'll just go and eat organics and eat all this processed crappy food and drink alcohol and whatever. I'll just go eat organic. And it still is not working. So you have to figure out, well, if a baby needs nutrition and it's developing and you're seeing the baby grow and get bigger and stronger and awesome, right? And then you're trying to eat, then you change your diet from an all-American crappy processed food diet to now just organic vegetables, and yet you're still aging, you're still degenerating, you're still regressing. Okay, then it makes you wonder, well, why did nutrition work in the beginning? Okay, because that's how you developed into an adult. And then why isn't nutrition helping now? These are the questions we need to be asking ourselves and our friends. Because now you're realizing, okay, so it is about nutrition, but then I'm eating all these vegetables, all these fruits, I'm eating the keto diet and whatever, and yet I'm still aging, I'm still regressing. There's a disconnect. The body didn't all of a sudden say, well, I don't need nutrition anymore to develop and to regenerate, right? Because when you degenerate, you have to regenerate if you're getting the right nutrition, because nutrition is what progresses you. It's what makes things grow. you're missing nutrition, you're going to regenerate. You're going to regenerate. You're going to degenerate. You're going to regress. And so I'm looking at, so now I'm looking, okay, so Jilly Juice, right? It has the water. It has the good salt, because the body needs, obviously, salt. If you look at the elemental composition of the human body, it has the lactobacillus, which is cancer or candida's mortal enemy. It has all the nutrition, and even in the diet, because there's plenty of fat in the Jilly Juice protocol in of itself, not just the recipe, but the actual diet has fat. But then you guys, some of you have a lot of fat that, you can just live on Jilly Juice and you'd be fine, because you have a lot of fat you can definitely release. And then the body will then keep what's needed. And then you still have the rest of the diet that you can eat, whatever, chicken, eggs, fruits, vegetables, all that stuff, right? So I don't know why that is so hard to make those parallels, that Jilly Juice and the protocol is actually not that different than mother's milk, because it all has the same components. It's all broken down. You wouldn't give solid foods to a baby who can't really process that, because it doesn't have the systems in place to be able to effectively process and digest and break down. That's why you give babies mother's milk, because it can't take solid food. There are specific stages where it's able to get solid food, but then you have to puree the food, right? At some point, you have to puree the food. So there's mother's milk, and then there's a point where they take, like, I don't have a baby, so I don't know all the different stages, but that there's like pureed bananas, pureed carrots, pureed squash, pureed, whatever, steak, I don't know. So, and then at some point, then it's actually able to then eat like Cheerios or whatever, which is all bad. But, at some point, then the baby's able to eat whatever you're eating in smaller circumstances. So that's the same thing with a person who is on Jilly Juice, is kind of going back to being an infant. Their system has regressed, degenerated, okay? And you now have to rebuild what was broken down, what was mutated. So forget the mutations for a minute. When you do have mutations, it's like you've hurt those insides. You've taken your body offline like a baby who's still developing. So when you're taking in a pre-digested form of nutrition, it's already broken down for you, no different than mother's milk for an infant who can't process solid foods. So that way you're relieving your body from having to break it down and overtaxing it, because it's not really it at this point. For adults who are regressing, who are aging rapidly with cancer disease and chronic illness, trying to eat foods that are highly cruciferous and nutritious really does tax the body, because your systems are not in place. So that's why the body tries to get rid of it quickly, because and you don't digest and you don't get the nutrition absorption. That's why all vegans and vegetarians are all freaking dying still. And then I don't understand this whole thing with the drugs. How is it that a baby needs nutrition for generation, right? To generate their bones, their muscles, all of that. But yet an adult who is depleting, who is degrading, needs drugs. You wouldn't give drugs to a baby to develop its neural pathways. This is where the disconnect in humanity, where we are so drugged up in our society, we have lost all sense, all common sense about the human body. We think that living off of alcohol and processed foods is the way to go, and wonder why it is that our arms are losing cartilage, why it is we get headaches and migraines, why it is we have toothaches and other issues that go on, because you're not feeding your body right, for one. Number two, your systems are so off. It's not absorbing any nutrition that you're giving it. And then when someone does give you, hey, here's some nutrition, you really need it, you just recoil. Well, and it may be, and it's your biochemistry. I get it. Some of you may be too far gone to even take in my information. So it's going in one ear and out the other, or you're waiting for that day where you're going to hit the wall, where then you're totally laid out, you can't move. And then it's going to be so much harder for you to climb out of that hole than the hole that you're in today. The hole that you're in today, where you're actually understanding my information, is probably the best hole you'll be in to get yourself out of that hole. Humans are so malnourished, they are turning to drugs to check out. They're drinking a bunch of alcohol and they're trying to anesthetize themselves out of existence. And it's tough to watch. Hey, Jennifer. Thank you. But you have to look at it from a very common sense point of view. Babies don't need drugs. They don't need any of that crap that we're taking right now from the allopathic and the holistic industry. Are you eating elderberry syrup 24/7, or is only during cold and flu season? Well, it makes you wonder, why only cold and flu season would you have elderberry syrup, but you wouldn't have it with every single meal that you have? Because we know that elderberry syrup is full of nasty antibiotics. It has honey in it. But even if you don't make it with honey, you make it with coconut sugar, do you think a baby needs mass amounts of sugar every single day? I mean, these mothers who claim to be these crunchy moms don't get it. And so now we got to bring this back to common sense. Adults are like babies regressing. That's why it seems like it goes full circle. When you have a baby who is very helpless, it needs a lot of assistance. These are butt wiped. It needs, a lot of looking after. And then you have an adult who is in a nursing home doing the same thing. So both ends of the spectrum need nutrition. Babies and elderly and people who are breaking down, their bodies are breaking down, need nutrition. You knew there was a point in your life where you didn't have any of the cancer disease and chronic illness and the crazy pains and all that. And that was probably the most optimal, where your body was in perfect equilibrium. And then you started noticing things breaking down. That should have told you. That should have told you that you are malnourished. But people don't think that way because they're being thrown all of these drugs and distractions and processed foods and holidays with anesthetizing foods. So you don't ever take a look at your body and understand that nutrition is actually what the body needs. But then when you take in nutrition and then you still don't get better, then you wonder what's going on here. Why isn't this herbalist, these raw vegan people, and you're right, Jennifer, funny how babies and elderly are targeted for the shots, yes. But it's funny how these people that run these raw vegan groups are super elderly. Why these tantric kundalini experts who claim to be I'm all vegan, they're aging. That's degradation, cell degradation. Why did you have cell degradation when you're supposed to be allegedly healthy? A healthy person would look like they're 30 at their most optimal peak time of their life, when everything is in perfect equilibrium, and maybe some of you have never experienced that, because Christina said you were born regressed. I believe it. Some kids are born where they are aging rapidly because there's a mutation from something that was introduced to their body, because a body doesn't just automatically just, progress that quickly and age that quickly. When you age so quickly, right? What's it called? Progeria? It's because your body is racked with some kind of mutation that is no different than a cancer patient who is deteriorating in the system, who is like 50 and then got some kind of cancer, and now you see them when they're dead and they look like they're 80 or 90, like somebody, in the system that died when they're 80 or 90. Not to say that when you're 80 or 90 you should be dying, but that's kind of what we associate someone that is elderly, that looks elderly, that like 80 or 90. But when you see a cancer patient actually dying in the system, they look like they're 90. They look like they've been around for years. So this is where we have to start looking and understanding. And people say, oh, cartilage can't be regrown. Once you have it and it's gone forever. Are you freaking kidding me? Cartilage can be regrown. It is part of the blueprint of the human body. It's not like once it's gone forever. Like everybody thinks, oh yeah, once you take out your organs, it's gone forever. The body has no ability to regenerate. But hey, you generated to begin with. You were able to grow. There's osteogenesis. That's new bone growth when you're in the womb. People say, oh yeah, you only have a certain amount of teeth. How do you know you only have a certain amount of teeth? Yes, you had your baby teeth come out and then your new teeth came in, but you know what? We never lived long enough to find out because people are dying before they're able to find out a new set of teeth could grow. So maybe you could have as many teeth as you can grow as long as you're giving your body nutrition. So yeah, I mean, the people that don't believe that the body can regenerate due to nutrition are going to succumb to the system, and it's tough to watch. But that is the reality. That's why life can be very painful for those that are doing Jilly Juice Protocol, because you're watching your friends and family and people close to you destroying themselves, and you're giving them all this information, and they're just well, they're probably thinking that they can party hard, do whatever until something then gives them a scare, and then they see Jesus or something, or they see God or something, and then they start changing their ways. And right now they're probably making little changes here and there just to kind of get themselves used to it, but still the system kind of pulls them back because, you know, they work or they have friends that are, you know, they're doing that kind of stuff. So it's not easy to really make your own path when there's so many negative influences out there. So I get it. And you got to be strong to stand on your own 2 feet. You got to be strong to do that. So yeah, so this is common sense now. You need nutrition to generate. You need nutrition to regenerate. And you don't need drugs. You don't give any baby developing drugs. I don't know why adults think that drugs are the answer when for them to develop, they had to have nutrition. So for you to regenerate and fix the issues, no different than a baby developing, why would nutrition be out of the question? And then when you do change your diet, yes, you may see some superficial differences, but yet you're still aging. You should be questioning why you're still aging. Why is your body degrading? That's where we have to understand that aging is cellular degradation. Your body's breaking down because of lack of nutrition. And that really should be a red flag. When you are aging with cancer disease and chronic illness, it's because you are malnourished. And when you're malnourished, you're gonna allow all of the pathogens. You're gonna allow all these natural killer cells anesthetize you when you're in pain because of your practices. You're gonna allow the parasites and the fungus take over, and then your daily life of eating all this yummy food is going to then do you in. That's why there's so many distractions. All this yummy, yummy food, right? But you can have that yummy food once you get your body to 100%. If I want to right now, which I won't, I could go, you know, and go eat a steak if I want to, but I don't. I could go eat a lobster tail if I want to, but I really don't, because at some point, you know, and I've had where my husband and I would go and I would just get like, you know, appetizers, and then, or I get a lobster and I would have a lobster, but that's once in a blue moon. I don't, because then I have to get rid of that, because all of that crap in your system does accumulate. And so when that crap in your system accumulates, it punches holes in your system. You got leaky gut. Now you're not able to absorb any nutrition that you get, or you absorb a little bit, enough to keep you going until you pass away or stroke out and caught in a nursing home, and you don't know when that's going to be. So yeah, I mean, that's our system. You've got to understand that nutrition is major. And if you do change your diet and you do get those superficial differences, but yet you're still aging and there's still things that are breaking down, and you still have to go see a naturopathic, and you still have to go see a doctor and get a test for this and a test for that, then you're not absorbing the nutrition. You need to figure out why. Well, if nutrition is supposed to make me, you know, young and beautiful and everything else, and I'm still aging, obese and stubborn, and you know, and head fog, then what is it about my body that is not absorbing it? But that's a very advanced question for somebody in the system who is still partaking in the system. It's a very advanced. So I'm trying to give you clues on the questions you need to be asking yourself. So that's why Jilly Juice exists, because it's no different than mother's milk for a baby It's no different than mother's milk for an adult. It's nutrition already broken down. Yeah, you're going to have to deal with healing because you're so mutated. And some people will not be able to withstand the pain because it's easier to anesthetize themselves and to check out and live that lustful life where it's all about endorphins. Ooh, that food creates endorphins. It's an opioid effect. The sex creates endorphins. It's an opioid effect. That drug is, a way to escape. It's an opioid effect. That's why I went into the whole thing with therapies yesterday, because all the therapies out there, regardless of what it is, it's all a drug. It has an opioid endorphin effect. And that is our society. Our society is so drugged, they don't even know it. And then they try to say that, that food can't be used as a drug, but it has been. Thanksgiving dinner is a drug. No different than CBD oil or chemotherapy. It's just in a different form. And it's socially acceptable. Thanksgiving is socially acceptable drug, more so than like LSD or something else. And people don't realize that because they're caught up in all the stories out there, all the baggage, all the words. But it really is about nutrition. A baby needs nutrition to develop. A person breaking down in the system needs nutrition to regenerate. And a baby gets growing pains. I remember when I was growing, getting through a growth spurt during the summer, I had the worst pains in my leg. Oh my gosh. It was always early in the morning too, where I was just like, growing pains. And it hurt. Growing hurts. So is healing. Healing and growing pains are the same thing. Nutrition on both ends of the spectrum have to happen for people to get to that point of equilibrium where you felt like you were your best self whenever. And if you never did, then maybe this would be a new thing for you. It's going to be a new world for you. But growing pains hurt and healing pains hurt. And they're both the same thing. It's the body finally morphing back to what it was originally intended before you fucked it up through no fault of your own. Because now now it will, now and hopefully your biochemistry will allow you this information. And just remember, Christina, some of your friends are not going to get it. Some of your friends are still going to continue. And don't be so focused with the expectation that your friends are going to get it. I would say resign myself, but I have a feeling that no matter what I say to some people, it will go in one ear and out the other. Okay? And I'm okay with that. As long as you know you did 100%, the rest is up to them. If they want to follow me and watch my videos and get my book, they'll do it. They'll do it. People, when they want something, they will find a way. If they want to be on my Facebook and I block them for whatever reason, they would find a way to say, what the hell? Why did you block me? Oh, believe me, people will move mountains for whatever they want. And so at some point, we got to step back and not focus so much on them and let them figure out what they want. And if they want to die in the system, at least they know they had a choice somewhere, even if their biochemistry still was like telling them that they need to eat that lobster or whatever else they're doing, or drink that drink. I mean, I live with a husband who still does his thing, and he sees my progress all the time, but he's waiting for that day because life hasn't gotten that bad for him to actually stay with the juice. But I pray that day happens because I hate to see something happen to him to where, now we have to figure some other stuff out. So, but anyways, that was something that just struck me as interesting that I wanted to get across. So that's something that's good. Growing pains and healing pains are no different. You need nutrition to regenerate and to generate. Okay, osteogenesis happens in the womb to create the bones, and then it also becomes very calcified as you get more minerals, right? Minerals mineralize the bone, make them harder. No different than people who are elderly or who are breaking down in the system. They need minerals, they need nutrition, they need the salt, they need, the lactobacillus because their fungus is out of control. It's taking things back to elementary. We got so lost in the drugs that people are so far gone, they don't even know which way is up. It's all by design, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't, or they're just giving people what they want because they don't know what they want until someone says, hey, hold on a second. Hello? We need nutrition, but being a vegan and an organic whatever vegetarian is obviously not the answer because they're still dying in the system and aging. They're still malnourished. So that's why I don't take any vegan or vegetarian that's not doing Jilly Juice seriously at all, because they're still aging. What is your lifestyle contributing to you? You're still aging. But yeah, it's trendy. It's definitely trendy to be a vegan vegetarian in our system. Very trendy. And it's short-lived. And it's something to make it a way of life. It's their, I don't know. It's what keeps them out of trouble. So so this is what I want to say. If you want to develop and regenerate your body to where you're not aging and breaking down, you need nutrition. You don't need CBD oil. You don't need any of these crazy drugs because you wouldn't give a developing baby any of these drugs. And that's what precipitated this whole transmission to begin with. Because when someone said, they said, oh yeah, LSD is used for clearing the neural pathways and whatever else, right? And I'm like, you would, and I posted on that person's, comment. I said, hey, you would not give a baby drugs. So why the hell would you give an adult drugs? And then someone asked me in my group, hey, can you ferment CBD or ferment cannabis? Why the hell would you want to? There isn't enough nutrition in cannabis for it to make a difference. And you have the protocol that has all the nutrition that you need. Why would you ferment an herb? I don't get that. Don't ferment anything but the Jilly for what I have in my protocol. But, people our society likes to anesthetize himself. We have so many damaged people in our society from social blunders of our leaders to historical stuff, and it keeps getting revisited through movies and television. And so people are, getting so traumatized, and the only thing that they can do is check out. So if somebody is high 24/7, or if somebody has some kind of tumor and they don't want to deal with the healing, no different than a baby trying to grow, dealing with the growing. You can't stop the growing in a baby. Yeah, you could try. But people want to stop, regenerating. They want to stop healing. So what do? They go and anesthetize themselves. They take a CBD oil. They go smoke some pot, smoke some ganja. And then just be happy, happy. But nobody wants to deal with any of the trauma that they've dealt with in the past. Nobody wants to go and progress, further than all of this stuff that the media brings up. Oprah brings up all this trauma from the past. Al Sharpton. Who else? Jesse Jackson, which I haven't heard in a long time. These people bring up all the traumas from the past and you have a new generation of people that are hating, each other. It's all the divide and conquer. Your humanity, your ability to regenerate is going to then surpass the division that they're doing and manipulating to you. What we all have in common is our human bodies, what we have in common. Everything else is all distraction. So if we bring it back to basics, that babies need nutrition to generate and grow, and they get growing pains, then a person breaking down in the system who has been damaged by a lot of things, they need nutrition, and it's painful to heal. Growing is painful, healing is painful, but both sides need strategic nutrition. The thing with the drugs and everything else and all these different protocols in the holistic and the allopathic industry, those are all anesthetizing things. They create natural killer cells to anesthetize you, to create endorphins, and it has an opioid effect. That's what people have to understand. Everything in this system is a drug in some way. All therapies are a freaking drug in just different forms. So nutrition is key. And so if you're aging, you can't claim that you are balanced. If you're sick and you just came out of a coma or an accident and you're saying that, oh yeah, I'm going to get better with these drugs and these protocols, or I'm going to do the juicing diet. When someone is a fruitarian, guess what? And they have damage to their body, guess what all that fruit sugar is feeding? It's feeding all of their parasites and all of their fungus. Okay? So somebody is strictly a fruitarian, yuck. You need massive amounts of salt and water and nutrition. That's what the body needs. Not all this newfangled, trendy crap that you see in the allopathic holistic industry. You need nutrition that is almost like mother's milk, but it's not. But it's broken down like mother's milk, and then the symptoms or the manifestations from healing and regenerating and generating are the same thing. The body is morphing back. It's painful. When you get to a point where you're healing and growing, it's painful. But when you finally get to the point of where you've healed everything or you've grown up, right? Because growing up is painful. You're learning everything. People telling you, no, no, no. You get beat up. You do this, you do that, right? And then finally you learn everything. And now you're finally an adult that has, like where I'm at right now. I am feeling no pain. The only pain that I feel is what I see around me, the people around me. My husband, watching him go through his stuff. Watching you guys go through your stuff, getting the backlash from people who are still, deteriorating in the system and them attacking me. That's painful, but my body is not in pain. But I am so reinforced that that doesn't really affect me. And I'm able to regenerate from that slight mutation, from that negative energy. That's why I've broken everything down to positive and negative elements and the elemental composition of the human body and the laws of the immune system. Now we understand natural killer cells and why it is you don't mix A, B, and O, because antibodies are actually a horrible thing for you. Antibodies should only be developed in very small circumstances, not on a continuous basis. So get my book, watch my videos, you guys, so you can catch up. And then understand the role of my juice, because it was by a fluke that I discovered this. And once I stayed on it, guess what? I cleared my brain fog. And now these concepts and how the world works is now so much clearer. It's so clear that it's almost scary. And it doesn't stop. And then you start recognizing all the deception. It's like you took the rose-colored sunglasses off for real. Not this pretend taking off your filters in the conspiracy community. Oh, I woke up. Yeah, that's one layer of programming you did. But you got a whole lot more to go, those of you who are aging. Because that's a programming you haven't figured out yet. Okay, people who are aging, people who are just recovering from an operation or something else, and they're taking part in all these different protocols, and they're maybe looking at my stuff, they're still part of that programming. Because now you got to heal from that accident. Now you got to heal from those years and years of cell degradation that caused you to age to begin with. Yes, master, doc, connector, and puzzle builder, yes. Oh gosh, okay, so what is it? Babies, healing and growing pains. Healing pains and growing pains. So healing pains are for the elderly and the sick, and they need nutrition. And growing pains for newborns and kids who are developing, and they need nutrition too. I mean, we have to make this as easy as possible for people so they get it. Because then you get caught up in all the stories. Oh, CBD oil. Oh, cannabis. That's all programming. That's all stories. People get caught up in the stories that are so entertaining. Oh, ganja and the Rastafarians and all this stuff. Oh, that's a great story, but it's not helping you any. Being checked out 24/7 or applying negative elements to your body because your body's breaking down isn't helping you. It isn't helping your race, isn't helping your culture, it isn't helping your community. We're going to have people all over. Oh my God, it's snowing outside. They're going to be zombies breaking down. The Walking Dead, trying to avoid the zombie apocalypse, but I think it's upon us. As soon as they legalize pot in all 50 states, and then Canada too. As soon as they legalize pot for every single state, guess what? It is going to be the zombie apocalypse, because everybody is going to want to check out, because life right now is so, I mean, look at right now at all the programming on TV. Everything is like ramping up, you know, all the sex, all the drugs, all the horror movies, all of just the, you know, people's just attitudes with each other. That all stems from very major malnutrition, all the politics. So now we have everybody that's so sick in our society, and it's a reflection of our media and the movies and the books and everything else and TV programs. Then everybody's going to be smoking pot, and then, yeah, they might chill out, but guess what? They'll be in a fog, and they really won't get my stuff. You know why? Because it's so much easier to smoke pot or drink alcohol and eat and then go to sleep and then go to work and do what you work and then go home and just check out. I mean, that's exactly what's going on. Is people go to work, do what they had to do, be great at work, and they go home and check out. And then they die. Woo, what a great life. All right, so anyways, there's my little sermon for today. Happy Monday, guys. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later, okay? Have a good one. Thanks for listening. Bye.